The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Grand Circle Tour podcast sent you.
Come in.
Brigadier?
Ah, Miss Shaw, that was quick.
I was coming to tell you that the doctor's back.
Ah, well, that's splendid timing.
And he's not best pleased.
Really, about what?
Well, Dr. Song. And the fact that she's been squatting in his TARDIS.
Who are you?
I'm the new scientific advisor.
The new... I've only been gone 5 minutes. I'm the doctor.
Yes, we didn't expect you back quite so soon.
Careful.
Is it electric?
It's like lightning running through the forest floor. Look, it trickles off down there towards the pit.
Rivers of light.
Aloha, passengers. Oh my God. I am just full of regeneration energy with excitement today. I have been so looking forward to getting to talk about the John Pertwee era. Justin, this is comfort Who for me. I can watch any Pertwee story at any time. I can jump in anywhere and just be like, this is my warm blanket and hot cocoa of TV.
And this is also a good season for people who want to start watching Classic Who, because from this point on, not only is it in color, we're not missing any episodes anymore, so we don't have to worry about animations or reconstructions or anything like that. And even the first episode, the first story of this season was all shot on film, so it looks fantastic.
Which
it's a wonderful introduction.
So hoping this is one of the next Blu-ray sets we get, because film, when restored, looks beautiful.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
I have season 8 and season 10 on Blu-ray, and they look beautiful considering how old they are and how much money and special effects they had available at that time. They look and sound amazing.
I bet they do, because this is like I say, this was kind of like it was almost a soft reboot of the whole series.
Oh, big time.
And so this was something that so again, that kind of helps you to just kind of like walk in. It was almost set up from the beginning to be like you could start here.
Right.
And for many Americans, this is the earliest Doctor that we got for a long time.
For a very long time, yes. We were denied the black and white years for a long time here in the States.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is very accessible because we find the Doctor grounded. He cannot travel. There is no space-time. It's whatever is sent his way, and he's forced to live amongst the humans and learn to build a life with them and be settled in one place.
Yeah, this and part of this, of course, this part of it was budget. They thought, well, you know what, if we ground this science fiction show in, then modern day, present day Earth, we won't have to do so many science fiction costumes and such.
But it works. This is such a strong and solid season of the show. And it's only 25 episodes and 4 stories, but it feels so incredibly short when you watch it back to back.
Yeah, that was another part of it too. It's like, because they were almost, I think they were, as I understand it, they were just kind of getting tired, honestly, of trying to do 40 some episodes every season. So that's part of the reason they scaled back the setting, they scaled back the number of episodes.
Which I just have to say, we do 80 to 100 a season. Ha ha, Doctor Who.
We put out a lot of content. That is
we
certainly
sure
true.
do.
And this season too, I think it kind of shows that one of the things that they talked about right away is that if we ground this in the here and now, in present day Earth, we only have about 2 stories we can do, either mad scientists or alien invasions. And so right from the beginning, you can tell that they were looking at that going, what else can we do? How can we make this interesting or different from just those 2 sort of categories of stories?
Well, and I think they really pulled it off because these 4 stories, I love everything going forward for the next few years, but I think this is the strongest of all the Pertwee seasons, and we don't have the Master yet. We don't have Joe Grant yet.
But we do have we do start to see things introduced here that do continue throughout pretty much the rest of the series.
Yeah.
In many cases. So
Unit and the Brigadier are going to go forward forever. Now we have the Brig's daughter in charge of Unit. I really want to gush over Liz Shaw. This is one of my favorite companions. Again, I know I say that a lot.
I'm beginning to think you like this show, Jay.
I get a passing fancy. No, I really, really have a soft spot for the academic companions. And what I love about Liz Shaw is, so they hired her before the Doctor stumbles in, just literally falls into a field. Cambridge scientist, incredibly smart, incredibly sassy, incredibly well dressed. Can we talk about the coat and spearhead of space? I love this coat. I love her My Girl haircut. Liz Shaw is just one of the coolest and most mature companions. And for me, I think she raises the bar for being a companion in the same way the first Romana does.
And I think this is the one, she really kind of holds her own against the Doctor.
Yes.
So much more than the other companions. She seems like she's almost on more equal footing with him.
Right. She is not enamored. She's a scientist. Oh, she's like, okay, you're an alien, fine. You've got alien tech, fine. What can we work on?
Yeah. What can we do? How does this work? Explain it to me.
She is not his assistant, as Joe Grant will be. She is his equal, and that's how she sees herself.
Yeah, she very definitely, like I say, she holds her own against him. She is very much on the same footing with him. Yeah.
When we get to this week's big finish recommendation, it is purely about spending time with Liz Shaw and the Brigadier.
And one thing I noticed as I was doing my research and whatnot for this, we forgot to mention when they introduced Lethbridge Stewart as the Brigadier last season, they also introduced Sergeant Benton, who returns here and continues on as well. And he's someone who is never really a companion, but
bad Skipper Jay. I am so sorry, Sergeant Benton. I can't believe we skipped you.
Yeah, he was in the invasion as well, and so he returns here, and he's one of these characters. He's a recurring character. He's never really quite a companion, as it were. but he does go along on
He's
many of the adventures.
Yeah, he's companion-like, companion-ish.
Yeah.
He's a companion. He's a character that we're going to get to know and love over the next 5 years.
So that's again, we have so many things that are introduced here, and you talk about.
I'm just so ashamed that I forgot Sergeant Ben. Like, bad skipper.
So now you talk about how in Spearhead from Space, the first story this season, we see the Doctor kind of like fall out of the TARDIS and flat on his face, apparently as the result of his force regeneration that we heard about at the end of last season.
After series,
but I have to say, if you watch that, he kind of brushes against the door of the TARDIS as he falls out, and that whole prop looks like it's about to fall apart.
And that right there is the charm of Classic Who. I mean, every time someone walks in the TARDIS, you watch the sets wobble, and you just kind of have to love it for being made with literally no money.
Well, and this prop in particular, they had been using it basically since episode 1 at this point. And they will continue to use this. I think it's up through the end of season 13. They do a few minor tweaks here and there. They change the sign, they change the little light on top and some of that, but it's the same basic structure. And so from here on out, it's kind of fun to watch this and go, how much is that prop deteriorating?
Well,
it's made of like balsa wood, you know.
What was the ship they talked about in WandaVision that we reviewed, where they replaced this piece and that piece to the point where it's
the ship of Theseus.
Thank you.
At what point is it?
At what point
is it a new ship? Is it a new prop?
I will tell you, Justin, I want a TARDIS in my house so bad. And I want a TARDIS console I can put my record player on.
There you go. So Spearhead from Space, we should probably talk about that a little bit. This introduces the Nestine consciousness and the Autons. And again, they don't come back as frequently as, say, the Daleks or the Cybermen, but they do return.
And they are a fantastic villain. And what I love is when we get to, let's see, it's 27, we're on 7. So in about 22 weeks, when we get to the Christopher Eccleston season, and we see them do an homage to this episode with the Autons and the consciousness and the new Doctor and the new companion, and putting the TARDIS to the back of the episode.
Oh, absolutely. So like where this is kind of like almost a reboot of the series, you know, when they do have the 2005 reboot.
The reboot.
Yeah, the rebooted reboot.
That they go back to the well, and this is the one that they
and this is where they go
homage
from.
To.
Yeah, so and it is an excellent choice.
It's an iconic episode. I mean, again, the Doctor, John Pertwee, comes onto the scene fully formed as his Doctor. He's already naughty. He's already techie. He's already, I hate to say pompous, because I love this Doctor. And
you have like some of these scenes that we get used to going forward of him like looking in the mirror or not quite knowing what he looks like just yet. Like when the Brigadier first sees him and doesn't recognize him, and he's like, well, I couldn't have changed that much.
Let me get my shoes and my key and get on out of here. Oh, wait, my car doesn't work anymore. I'm stuck.
And I find it interesting that John Pertwee at the time was well known as being a very, very much of a comedy actor.
Yeah, he did a lot of some great B horror films. I mean, he was very well known at this point.
And so they hire him to be the Doctor, and then they give him kind of the most serious version of the Doctor we've ever seen.
Well, and again, this is heading into mature Doctor territory, where the 60s stuff was very 60s, and in a lot of ways very safe. We're going to get some very dark stories going forward from this point. I mean, things are about to get a lot darker, but in a fun way.
Yeah, both Pertwee and Courtney as the Brigadier, they both seem to have this idea that as long as we speak in a monotone voice, that means we are serious.
You know what? That works for me at work. When I've had it with somebody, I go to this tone. And this tone is a warning. My ASMR voice means.
But I have to say, the Brigadier in particular, when he does make a joke, he still does it in that kind of monotone sort of voice like that, with maybe just a little bit of a smirk, and it just comes across as just this wonderfully dry British humor.
And what I love is everyone, the audience, the characters on screen, we're all like, "Aw, aren't you cute?" Trying to be funny. That's adorable. Well, yeah, we get the Brigadier as a full-time character, and he's about to become the Doctor's best friend. This is a character we are going to see going forward into the new series. This is a character we're going to fall in love with. This is a character we are going to legit be heartbroken when the actor dies decades later and we no longer have him.
I mean, this is a character who even shows up in like the Sarah Jane Adventures. And
right. He will meet every incarnation of the Doctor going forward. I mean, he just met the Ninth Doctor on Big Finish. Big Finish, seriously, guys. I love you. Give me some credits at your store. I will keep hawking Big Finish to the day I die. Just throw me some free Torchwoods every now and then.
Yeah, we should be getting a sponsorship from them for.
I know, right? Nicholas, if you're listening, Nicholas and Benji, if you're listening, we totally need some Big Finish credits.
Absolutely, I definitely recommend Big Finish products. They are.
I'm listening to the new Steed and Tara King Adventures that just came out. I am loving it. It is perfect. Seriously, Nicholas and Benji, if you ever play some of the Big Finish podcast, hook us up with some Torchwoods. We love you. Now watch this. Somehow this actually gets used on the Big Finish podcast. I would die. I would just friggin' die right there. No, excuse me. I have to make this clip and send it to them.
Oh. So what else do I want to say about Spearhead from Space? We do see this is the first time we hear about the Doctor having two hearts.
Yes.
And that's another detail that goes forward.
We also see the Doctor take a shower, and in that shower, he has got a tattoo that is going to feed all kinds of fan speculation going forward. Forever.
Oh, I'm sure about that. Fan speculation never dies.
Fan speculation never dies. What I love is we're going to see a scene in this episode that's mirrored years later with Matt Smith in his first one, where he's like, I need some clothes, so I'm just going to help myself to this, I'm going to help myself to that, I'm going to help myself to this. Whee!
I had forgotten about that. You're right. He does do that in this episode.
He is Phoebe. He's like, I'll take your clothes, your car, and do whatever I want.
He does steal a car in this one. Yep. Because why not? He's the Doctor.
Grand Theft Gallifrey. Why not? Now I'm so like in my head like, what if Nick and Benji played this on the Big Finish podcast? I wonder if I should send this to them.
Well, shall we move on to the next story?
Please, let's, before I get lost, please get me out of here, Justin.
So the next one is Doctor Who and the Silurians, and this is where, like I said, one of the main two stories you could do in this sort of setting is an alien invasion. And so to mix things up here, they introduce instead the Silurians, and it turns out they are not aliens. They were beings who lived here long before humans. Mm-hmm. They went into hibernation. They woke up. They found out the ape men had taken over.
And this is such a great science fiction concept because you cannot blame them. They're actually not bad guys. They went to sleep, woke up, and went, "Whoa, who's in our house, Goldilocks?"
Yeah. Yeah, so it really brings up more of an ethical dilemma than just your standard, hey, aliens are coming in from outer space and want to take over.
Which is, one of the things I love about science fiction, I love about Doctor Who is taking this concept of, this is very, as an American, Native American rights. We rolled over people, and what if one day they just were like, hey, we want it all back?
And even in this episode,
in this story,
they show the differing sides within the Silurian camp themselves. Of the one older gentleman is like, he wants to, reach a deal, make some sort of compromise, and the younger ones are like, can't we just wipe them all out?
Which again, this exact same thing is going to come back decades later in Matt Smith's first season.
Yeah, and again, the Silurians, another returning character. They don't return quite as often as, say, the Daleks or the Cybermen, but they do come back.
And like I said, the Ice Warriors, these are great monsters, but I don't consider them bad guys, because how can you consider them bad guys when you understand their point of view? And again, if you don't like what I said about Native Americans, all your complaints go to @StanSolo. Send those right to Stan.
So this is like a really interesting story, and the Doctor tries his best to try to find a more peaceful solution to their problems.
What's funny is this is a great story. This is a 7-part story. I have this on DVD upstairs. How much of this serial right here is mined for Matt Smith's 2-parter in series 5 / season 31?
At some point you have to kind of revisit the old hits.
This entire thing is completely mined and redone decades later. That's how strong a story it is.
We mentioned that he stole a car. In this story, he finally gets his own car, his nice yellow Roadster. He calls it Bessie. And we see that all throughout his run.
Unit acquires it for him, but they don't really say where or how. They're like, we got you a car, and your license plate is who won.
Which I absolutely love.
I'm really surprised Bessie has not made an appearance in the modern show. That is
a good point.
We're 18 years in, and we have not even seen a wink at Bessie in all this time, which is a huge letdown.
That is an excellent point. We do see it in like the 5 Doctors. It reappears there, but is that the last time we've seen it on screen?
I think it is. Of course, if we're wrong, someone is screaming right now. Hopefully it's not Nick and Benji at the Big Finish podcast.
If anyone would know, it's probably them, because they have to. They know where all of the pieces are located.
I'm so gonna send them this episode, and I'm like, hopefully they don't judge us harshly.
Oh. But the Silurians too. They have an aquatic version that we will meet later on, the Sea Devils, who also return over time as well. So this is a well that they kind of return to over and over again throughout the series, throughout both the classic and the new Who series. Because they are very interesting characters.
They are. We're gonna get the Matavastra character later on. This is again, I hate to classify them as a monster when you can see their point of view. They really need a good, solid story arc coming up soon.
I would agree. That's one thing where it always feels like it's never. It always feels like it's never really fully cleared up. what
No,
what
no,
their
and
relationship to the humans are.
They show up, they disappear. They show up, they disappear. This is a species of the show that would really benefit, I think, from a good long series-long arc, like one whole series dedicated to Silurians. Can you imagine how great that would be? Because it would bring up so many points of conflict, so much the way sci-fi is able to hold up a mirror to the real world.
I will say yes, but I will append in the hands of a good writer.
You know what? There's only been like, I think 2 or 3 episodes of the new series I haven't liked. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We definitely will. So,
And what was the David Tennant episode? So, I mean, what does that tell you? I must not have liked it at all.
There you go. So the next one after this is the Ambassadors of Death.
Okay, this is such a cool classic science fiction story. This is like, there have been so many sci-fi movies made of this exact storyline.
Yeah, we do have an alien invasion. So again, kind of going back to that sort of storyline. Yeah, they can kill us by touching us because they're sort of so radioactive, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Kill us with a sound wave, which I'm always, every time I watch the story, I joke they're killing us with the brown note.
Yeah, so that, I mean, and that's another, it's a good story. It's well told. Now, was this one that had been lost and recovered, though?
I believe it was. Again, Nick and Benji, if you're listening, I'm so sorry if we're wrong. We're just Americans.
As I recall, I think this is one that had been junked. The original had been junked, and they did find a version of it, but it wasn't necessarily the best quality version. So it might not look as visually nice as, say, Spearhead from Space, which is in great shape. This one's a little less.
Yeah, it's definitely got it looks of its time when you go to watch it.
Yeah. So that's something I feel we should let people know what to expect when they go into this. But the story is good.
I know we should talk more about this episode, but I really, really want to talk about Inferno because I love that story. I'm so sorry. I know I'm doing the previous story injustice, but can we talk about Inferno? I love the story.
Inferno is the next one. It's the 4th story of this season and the last story of this season. But it's so fascinating. So again, they're trying to figure out how the writers are trying to figure out how do we do something different? How do we break out of this mold that we've kind of almost forced ourselves into with our setting and with our limitations? And this was a fun twist on that. And
I think it was a brilliant way to tell a story, to stay on budget, and like you said, do something different, given how little they had to work with.
So we're 4 stories in. We've had 3 stories.
And Justin, Nicholas Courtney in an eye patch. What more do I need to say?
And it's a lot of fun. But what I was going to say is, like, we've had 3 stories to sort of like introduce us to these characters and this setting, and so we kind of know who these people are, and then we twist it. We give it a twist. We go to essentially a mirror universe. The Doctor is playing around with his console because he's taken the console out of the TARDIS because he's trying to fix it.
Which he should know by now. It's not going to work. You're just going to break it if you keep tinkering with it.
And so he ends up accidentally kind of shifting over to like an alternate reality in essence.
A doomed alternate reality.
A doomed alternate reality that is slightly ahead of the reality he left. So once he finds out how doomed they are, he has time to go back to our reality and warn them, hey, maybe you don't want to do this. That could be a bad idea.
And what I love is it's not a situation the Doctor can win. This other universe, they are doomed. There is nothing you can do to save them.
But we get to see like evil versions or different versions of these characters that we just have been spending 3 stories getting to know.
Nicholas, Courtney, and Eye Patch. We get to see Carol and John in a super short mini skirt and all Nazi-fied.
Well, yes, because this is a fascist dictatorship going on. Is the reality here?
And he has to convince these people that it's the people he knows, but not the people he knows. Listen, I don't mean you ill will. I'm trying to help. Put your Nazi guns down and don't hurt me.
So yeah, it's another great story, and this whole season, I think every story is solid.
It is. This is a really tight, really solid season. I mean, I'm really hoping this is one of the next Blu-ray collections.
How can it not be?
We've got season 8. I've got season 8. I've got season 10. I want all of Pertwee in beautiful Blu-ray 4K restoration.
Because, and like you say, Spearhead and Space in particular, it was shot basically all on film.
Yeah.
They went out on location and shot on film. It was part of like some of the background stuff that was going on at the time. But so it looks great as is, and yeah, it would clean up nicely for a 4K edition.
Yeah, and we are 29 minutes in, and we have not once talked about the Pertwee costume.
And what would you like to say about the Pertwee costume?
The Austin Powers Doctor has such a beautiful costume. This is an era I really like, the 70s, and same with Capaldi, where the Doctor has a wardrobe. He doesn't have a costume. We're going to see some really fun, funky, mod early 70s, pre-disco outfits going forward. I mean, we're going to see some friggin' great clothes, great hair, great boots. It's going to look really cool for the next few years.
Yeah, he really does. He goes all in on fashion, as it were. His own sense of fashion, perhaps, but definitely some sort of sense of fashion.
We're going to get Venusi Nikito. I mean, this is the James Bond Doctor.
He really is. He's a lot more action-oriented. We get more like car chases and things like that with him.
And
more gadgets. More. Yeah, he's dressing for the occasion. He's
a gentlemanly doctor. He's but a scoundrel. This is such a fun era. Like I said, it doesn't matter if I turn on the Roku and it's a Third Doctor story. I don't care what story, what episode I'm on. I can just lay down with my snug and be like, all is right with the world. Pertwee is on.
And again, like I was saying at the beginning here, for anyone listening, if you're looking for a place to get into Classic Who, Season 7 is a great place to start.
I agree. And you can find it on DVD. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on BritBox. This whole season is available. However you consume it, if you enjoy it, I really recommend getting the DVD copies off like eBay or iTunes and watching the special features, because there's so much there. There's so much meat on the bone to chew on that if you're like me and this is your obsession, you'll be there for a while. You're gonna love this. I love this, Justin, and I want other people to love it too.
We are doing what we can here.
I'm doing my best.
Ambassadors of the Doctor instead of ambassadors of death here. We are ambassadors.
We love Doctor Who. We love classic Doctor Who because it's literally the same show as the one from now. And we want you to love it. So what you heard at the beginning of the episode was the trailer, the Big Finish trailer, because we said we're going to start pairing each season with a big finish, like you pair a fine wine with a fine meal. And so this week we chose The Diary of River Song Series 9, New Recruit. And even though we're not going to meet River Song for quite some time in the show, she is the Doctor's wife, and she pops in during this season when the Doctor is unavailable. She takes up being Liz's assistant. And what I really, really enjoy is spending time with the Brig and Liz here. That's what made this 4-story box set for me the pairing for this week. It's the Doctor's, he comes in the last episode, and yes, River's there, but you get to spend time with Liz, you get to spend time with the Brig with the Doctor removed at unit, just doing unit stuff. This is just a great, I just listened to it again. I cannot recommend this one enough. And it's a great bridge between Classic Who and New Who.
And who does the voices on that one? Do you know?
So John Colshaw, who's a British comedian, an actor, he does the Brigadier. And you can literally, Justin, you cannot tell the difference. He is so good. He sounds just like Nicholas Courtney. It is bizarrely uncanny. He does him so well that you really think it's Courtney.
Excellent.
And for Liz Shaw, the actress who plays her is Daisy Ashford, who is the daughter of Carol and John. So not only does she naturally sound like her, she does this, again, like with Mr. Colshaw, Miss Ashford does this Liz Shaw that is so impeccable, you think it's Carol and John. So you really get to spend some great time with these two characters without the Doctor and just kind of hanging out and getting to know them.
Excellent.
I cannot say enough good things about this one. Right, it's not on sale. The download currently is $37.25 in American dollars, but I cannot recommend this one enough. It's 4 stories, hour-long each stories. It will breeze by. So fun. I have nothing but amazing things to say about it. Again, Big Fish. Sponsor us. Nick and Benji, if you're listening, we love you. I listen to the Big Finish podcast every Saturday night. In addition to being a Big Finish subscriber, where you get more by being a subscriber.
Well, once you're done making your plea to Big Finish, do you have anything else to say about this season before we wrap it up?
Honestly, this is a perfect season of Doctor Who. I have really been looking forward to this. I want every single passenger, everyone listening, to go out and consume this season. It's fun. You're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, and like I say, it's a great place to start. It's 4 stories. They're all very solid stories. This is the only season we get to see Liz Shaw,
Which
so
is a shame.
enjoy her character. But we do see the Brigadier. We see Sergeant Benton. They'll be
We're
going forward.
heading into a perfect season of Doctor Who. I mean, a perfect era. Justin, I have nothing but like, I'm like the teacher in that movie, Christmas Story. When it comes to Pertwee, it's like A plus 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 plus.
Yeah. So this is.
I want to travel with this Doctor.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to travel with any of them, honestly.
Yeah. But this one especially, because I know I would have a great time, but it would definitely take place over a long period. All
right. Well, with that, shall we wrap this up?
I think we should hit the controls on the TARDIS and get out of here.
All right. Sounds good.
I just want to say really quick, I'm amazed. The numbers for these Doctor Who episodes have been really high, and I want to thank each and every one of you for. I thought this would do well. I think it was going to do as well as it's been doing, and so thank you all. We really appreciate it. The numbers are very encouraging, and please email us your questions. If there's a story, if there's a character, if there's a plot line, if there's a monster, if there's any thing in Doctor Who you want us to talk about, hit us up. If you give us a bone, we are going to chew it for you.
If you know any of the the backstage stories as well, let us know and we'll talk about those.
Anything you want, Doctor Who, let us know. We will, trust me, I could be here for the next 6 hours, but these are busy days for me, Saturdays.
All right, well, with that, shall we wrap this up?
Big finish for the love of stories.
All right.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
The Grand Circle Tour podcast is brought to you in part by Expedition Roasters. When you visit expeditionroasters.com, use the promo code Grand Circle Tour podcast, that's all one word, and you will receive 10% off of your purchase. If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to visit our Facebook page, Disney Friends of the Grand Circle Tour podcast. While you're on Facebook, like our page, Grand Circle Tour podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, on Instagram at GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. On TikTok, Grand Circle Tour. That's all one word. If you'd like to email us, drop us a line, gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merch can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your visit, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Only one rule, make it good. All logos, sounds, music, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned in full by the Disney Corporation, and they are not, nor are they intended to be owned in any way by the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Doctor, you're being childish.
Well, of course I am. There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.